So, with The Rise of Skywalker out there and available for everyone to watch in the world, where does The Rise of Skywalker kind of fit as far as how does it set up episode 10 moving into, 10, 11, and 12 of the next alleged trilogy in the Star Wars franchise? And kind of what do we know so far about the future of the Star Wars movies? I think it's a huge question and a topic of conversation, so let's talk about it. So, how does Rise of Skywalker set up episode 10? So, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker has been billed as the end of the Skywalker saga. Leading up to the film's release, fans have been bombarded with nostalgia-laced trailers, teasers, and featurettes. The film itself is one big nostalgia-wrapped ball of twine on the verge of coming undone. To the dismay of many, The Rise of Skywalker wasn't perfect, not that it could have been. Walking out of the cinema with an unwavering sense of unrequited love, or maybe you felt smothered, one can't help but wonder where the franchise goes next. Just because it's the end doesn't mean it's over. Before we get into how The Rise of Skywalker sets up a future narrative, here's what we know about the pending movie plans. So, what we know so far, guys, and by the way, once again, I gotta say that, what people are saying about The Rise of Skywalker, especially critics, 55%, absolutely and utterly blasphemous in my opinion. I think that this was one of the best Star Wars movies made, period, but it was certainly the best of the sequel trilogy, and I don't even think it was close. I thought The Force Awakens was great with the nostalgia and things of that nature, but this movie overall with, of course, the special effects as well as the acting, and then, of course, how they concluded everything, I thought it was great. So what we know about the future of Star Wars movies, there will be more Star Wars movies. Lucasfilm has already booked release dates for December 16, 2022, December 20, 2024, and December 18, 2026. Very little is known about the films that will fit into this schedule, as Disney has been waiting to see how people react to The Rise of Skywalker before they move forward with any plans. This trepidation is no doubt a result of the fandom's divisive reaction to the Star Wars The Last Jedi. Around the release of The Last Jedi, it was announced that the film's director, Rian Johnson, would be helming his own Star Wars trilogy completely unrelated to the Skywalker saga. Talk surrounding that idea has dwindled since, although Johnson has said that it is still very much a thing and could very likely be the films to fit within Disney's release schedule. In addition to Johnson's trilogy, there were plans for Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss to create a Star Wars film. That plan has since been scrapped. The most recent news revolves around a Kevin Feige, who can do no wrong, produce Star Wars film. In the wake of mixed reactions to the sequel trilogy, Disney doesn't want to take any chances. Since Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, their approach to the Star Wars sequel trilogy can be described as, rushed. Disney CEO Bob Iger has admitted to this. The flip-flopping of directors from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker has resulted in a narrative that feels inconsistent and misconceived. This isn't to say that the sequels don't do some things well. The Force Awakens can be seen as an energetic love letter to Star Wars A New Hope and arguably a perfect start, while The Last Jedi as a courageous subversion of expectations. In a lot of ways, The Rise of Skywalker Boy Scout knocks the crap out of various plot threads, while others are left to dangle in the wind. It was advertised as the end of the saga. However, with so many ominous moments and questions left unanswered, there's no reason to say an episode 10 or some sort of continuation will never happen. Without further ado, here are some of the ways The Rise of Skywalker sets up the next Star Wars saga film, should it ever happen. So, few things here, guys. Number one is Finn is Force sensitive. So on a few occasions in The Rise of Skywalker, Finn tries to tell Rey something. Given the life or death circumstances of one of these occasions, it kind of felt like he wanted to profess his love for her, but it has been confirmed by J.J. Abrams and John Boyega that Finn wanted to inform Rey of his connection to the Force. Deathbed sinking pit confessions aside, Viewers can deduce this about Finn thanks to his newfound intuition. So he's force sensitive. They can kind of move into that direction. Finn feels Rey in the same way that Leia and Luke can feel each other in the original trilogy. Finn is very much a stand-in for Leia in this way. That said, it really would have been nice to get a sense of his force sensitivity in The Last Jedi, similarly to Leia in the Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. We may have been teased with Finn's sensitivity in The Force Awakens when he was anointed to lightsaber duties, but that's pretty much it. Regardless, Finn's next steps are clear. He's about to upgrade in a big way, and he'll need a master. So then the next thing is Rey is the ultimate Jedi Master, which is a way in which that I guess they could go because she is a Palpatine. She could, with being a Palpatine and knowing the ways of the Force, she really could become an ultimate Jedi Master. I'm not going to read everything there. Lando and Jannah, Poe and Zori, Maz. I do want to kind of skip down to where it says, will George Lucas's unused material ever be utilized? I think this is kind of interesting. When Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012, he also sold them his plans for the sequel trilogy. Disney's trilogy has proven to be a huge departure from what Lucas originally planned. His trilogy would have delved deep into the nature of the midichlorians and the Wills, powerful Force users seen in the Star Wars, the Clone Wars. The Force would have been examined on a microbiotic level. Who knows what this could have said about the nature of good and evil on a biochemical level. The philosophical possibilities are endless. When George Lucas made Star Wars 40 plus years ago, he set out to create something different, laced with nuances and I don't even know what that says, that aimed to say something bigger. From political statements to debates about morality, Star Wars has it all. Adults love it just as much as kids. One of the things George Lucas found most disappointing about the sequel trilogy after a private screening of The Force Awakens was that it didn't offer fans anything new. The fact that nothing new or deeper occurred overall may be one of the reasons it doesn't feel like anything ended. While the sequels were a lot of fun, The Rise of Skywalker's definitive end didn't put things into perspective the way a lot of people hoped it would. There are those who, instead of looking back, are wondering where the franchise goes next. The saga concludes. But yeah, so where does it go? So guys, I personally believe that episode 10, 11, 12, 100% pretty much have been confirmed, right? They're like confirmed, but the question is like, okay, where's it going, right? Where are they planning on going? Are they going to, continue with Rey and Finn and Poe, or are they just going to utilize them in a different way? It's very hard to say. Or are they going to go with a way in which George Lucas, some of what he was planning on using, like as far as, for his sequel trilogy, are they going to maybe do that? I don't think they're going to probably do what George Lucas wants to do for whatever reason or another. I feel like they're going to do their own thing and continue doing their own thing. I mean, the IP is theirs. They will definitely take George Lucas's, feedback with a grain of salt because, episode 1 and 2 certainly were not good movies. Hate to break it to everybody who loves Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones, but they really weren't that good. The third one was great. I thought it was the best one that George Lucas ever did. I think it was the best Star Wars movie ever made. But that doesn't get, past, those first two that he did. And even A New Hope, I thought it was good, but, and even The Return of the Jedi, it's like they're good, but, so I think that they're going to take his feedback with a grain of salt, certainly. But what I would personally like to see is something totally new. Totally new. Kind of like The Mandalorian feels very new. It feels very refreshed. It feels Star Wars-y, but it's very new. And I kind of want something like that out of the next trilogy that comes out in the form of 10, 11, and 12. That's what I'd like to see. Something completely new on some like new planets, some really, those are the things that I personally would absolutely love to see. But let me know what you guys want to see out of episode 10, 11, and 12. Really, let's mainly talk about episode 10 though. Where do you guys want to see them kind of start? I'm very nervous hearing Rian Johnson's kind of the one helming this thing. If that is true, that's very concerning to me at least. Not that he's not a good director and filmmaker. I think he's great. I just don't know if how much I trust him in the Star Wars franchise. But that's a conversation for another day. Let me know what you guys think about that.